Hello, my name is Angela and I'm going to guide you through a short restorative yoga practice. So before you start, if you had a couple of props to hand, I have got an eye pillow, that would be good, and also a couple of blankets. These are quite sort of weighty blankets, they're not the kind of fluffy type blankets, that would be really useful. And I've got a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, perhaps you could have a couple of pillows or maybe a couple of thick blankets that you could roll up into a sort of large sausage shape. That would be really useful. So find those bits and pieces, and then when you're ready, come back to the mat, and we're to start sitting in a cross-legged, if that's comfortable position. So if it's not comfortable, you maybe want to take the feet a little bit further forwards, but come to a place so that you could have a long spine. And we'll just settle into our shape, and we'll come into a breathing practice. So if we were to wrap your arms around your body, let your shoulders drop away from your ears, just giving yourself a hug. And you might want to close the eyes. And then just bring awareness to the breath, meaning you might listen to the sound of the breath. You might notice the movement of the body as you breathe, so perhaps you can feel the expansion across the upper back. Maybe you can slow the breath, so you could inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for 5. Inhale 5, exhale for 5. And again, inhale for 5 and exhale. And then you can just let go of the body for a moment. Just roll the shoulders. And then let's just wrap the other arms around the other arm on top. So you let your shoulders drop, close the eyes, and again, feel the breath. Notice the breath. Inhaling for 5, exhale for 5. Inhale 5 and exhale. One more. Inhale for 5, exhale 5. You can let go of the body, perhaps just lift your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale as you release. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, release. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, release. So you could take the hands onto your knees and just start to make some circular movements with the body. So if you've been sitting all day or just not moving very much, it's quite nice to bring a bit of movement into the body before we settle into these couple of restorative poses. So you can perhaps notice the movement. Inhale as you come forwards, exhale as you round back. And again, the other direction. And then you stop, come back to a neutral position, and if you're just to place your feet flat onto the floor, you can take the hands behind you, so I've got my fingers pointing forward, so just coming into a little twist. So you can take the knees one way, the head goes the other. So just see if you can find some movement in the hips, rolling across the feet. Twist. And again you twist. And you twist. Again, knees go one way, head goes the other. And then you twist. So you can come back to a neutral position. We're settled into our first restorative pose. So let's try restorative child's pose. So what we could do is, if you have a blanket, you could put the blanket onto the mat, opening it out. So this this will be where your knees will rest, maybe a little bit wider than that. So take the blanket along the mat, first thing to do, and then we're going to rest the feet. The knees will be resting on the blanket. So if this isn't very comfortable, you could always put, the other thing to do is to take some blankets between heels and thighs. That might be a nice thing to do. And then if you have your bolster, that comes in between your legs. So I'm not sitting on the bolster, it's coming right up to my thighs. And then what we could do is just lean the body down over your bolster and wrap your arms around it. Now, there are lots of modifications we can take in restorative poses. If this doesn't feel comfortable, another option would be to lift your bolster up slightly. So if you had a cushion or a block, what you could do is you could lift this bolster up. So prop something underneath it, and then you could try that. So how would that be if you just lay yourself down over your bolster? You could turn the head in one direction, and then just let the body drop into this shape. So another nice thing to do when you're in these positions, another blanket, is you could wrap a blanket around. I won't wrap it around me, let me see what I'm doing, but you could wrap your blanket around your body if that was good, and then we could just hold it. And so you just feel the body settling into this shape. Supported child's pose. And the thing about these restorative poses, there's no effort. The body is totally supported. So the arms could be wrapped around the bolster, and then you could bring awareness to the breath. Inhaling, you might feel the expansion across the back, and as you exhale, you just let the body just drop a little bit deeper into the shape. If your mind starts wandering, just focus on the breath. And if your head's turned in one direction, you might just want to turn the head the other way. Slow, rhythmic breath. You might notice the texture of the breath. Is the breath smooth, or is your breath a little bit rough around the edges? Can you smooth the breath? Let your shoulders just relax away from the ears. Feel the body supported by the bolster, by the props beneath you. Let the body rest. I'm going to hold it here for a few more breaths. come out of this pose, just slowly think about how you might bring yourself up. So the hands can come to the mat, you can lift yourself up to a vertical, body to a vertical position. Take a couple of breaths. Let the shoulders relax. And then we can just come into one more pose, which is a lovely pose. It's called supported or Supta Baddha Konasana. So what we will do with this pose, let's take the blanket out. You'll not be needing that. So if it would be nice to prop your bolster or your cushions or your rolled up blankets. You have an incline for your back to rest on. And there are a few things you might want to do here. I go sort my blankets out. So the idea being we're going to lie on the back and we're going to prop with the knees dropping out to the side. So a few things you might want to do. If you had a couple of cushions, actually, that would be useful. You could use the cushions as a prop. And the other thing we can do is bring a blanket at the top of the mat. So some of you that do class with me will know I do this little blanket support, which is you get a long blanket and you roll it up so it makes a sort of a scroll shape, and that will rest on the top of your bolster, whatever you're using for an incline. And then what we do is we take come right the way up to the base of the bolster. You'll let your knees drop out sideways and your head will be supported so your chin's not sticking up in the air. And then what we need to do is we need to support underneath our upper thighs. So you can use cushions, whatever you would like to prop your upper thighs. So I've got my feet together, my knees are dropping out, my arms are rested by my side. So again, there are lots of modifications we could do. If you feel like your arms are kind of hanging in the air a little bit, you could place some cushions underneath the forearms as well, so lift the arms. But so check to see how this feels, and then this is where the eye pillow could come in. You might take a eye covering over the eyes. You might want to cover yourself up, which would be nice. And we're just resting this shape for a moment or two. And I've got my Reiki drum to hand, so I might just play a little bit of my Reiki drum while you're resting. So just a very slow rhythmic drum beat. So I'll let you settle into your shape to start. So again, your outer thighs are totally supported, so propping outer thighs up. You've got your neck is feeling comfortable, your chin's not sticking up in the air, your arms are resting by your side, and then you might want to cover yourself up with a blanket. And then while you settle yourself into this shape, I'll get my large Reiki drum, and I will just play this a little for you. So the idea being you're feeling an openness across your chest, the softening through the inner thighs. To rest. body resting. You might want to think about straightening your legs, so you could just take the legs along the mat. And then to come out of the position, maybe just bend your knees, roll onto your side for a moment, rest your head on your hands. And then let's bring ourselves up to a seated position. So relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, we could take the hands to the heart. Take the arms up above the head, spread your fingers and come back to your centre. So I hope you enjoyed that short practice. Thank you very much. Namaste.